All right? Just hang loose, Harbaugh. Gonna catch you up on the rebound on the med side. Chump don't want no help. Chump don't gotta get the help.
Cut me some slack, Jack.
You know? Got all that?
Great moments in Black history. Excuse me, I speak jive.
One of the greatest scenes ever, and if you haven't seen Airplane, that's your problem. Continue.
Who are these enemies? He got enemies. Got a lot of enemies. Got a lot of people trying to drain me of his energy. People
And
like you're Jim Harbaugh.
as I'm wearing the Drake.
You're Jim Harbaugh, man. Like, this is flattering. This is what comes with the territory where you've been, as you mentioned, successful at every stop. You don't have to be an enemy of Jim Harbaugh to speculate about whether or not he would be interested in returning to the NFL in a high-profile head coaching position. But I'll help him squash the rumors. I'm here to tell you, he is never leaving college. He's going to be Nick Saban in that there are going to be rumors every year, every cycle about him. But he's such a perfect fit for college. Michigan offers him everything he could possibly want. He is never going back to the NFL. I think he's going to stay for a long time.
Well,
he'll be Bo Schembechler, which I think he aspires to be.
He's never going back because he's at this college, all right? Because he's at his dream job, dream university, doing, and I can't imagine, unless the bottom falls out, and I can't really imagine that ever happening, I can't see him getting tired of Michigan, and I can't see Michigan getting tired of him.
Nope. Whereas in the NFL, you're hired to be fired. You got a shelf life. And you know this insane dude will wear out his welcome in a matter of years.
That's the one place where I don't think that'll ever happen.
Right.
Look, I've heard some of my Michigan State fan friends, they're whispering about, like, ooh, what if he goes to the NFL? See, real programs don't talk like that. We should want Jim Harbaugh to be there as long as humanly possible. Because the more times we can beat Jim Harbaugh, the better off we should feel.
Y'all win this year?
We didn't win this year.
All right, well, you can't talk trash.
No, I'm not talking trash. I'm just saying, like, look, if you consider yourself on someone else's level.
You slip some trash talk in there.
No, that was no trash talk. that was no trash talk at all. All I'm saying is that you want to beat the best.
No question.
He's one of the best coaches in college football, I want him at Michigan.
And this is how I got you to shine my shoes last year, because you, like a lot of people, I brought up old stuff.
Yeah, you did.
You, like a lot of people, thought that the NFL, because it's the highest level of competition, it is, they're still shining like new. You thought that Harbaugh would never go to college, even Michigan, being a Michigan man, because you, like a lot of people, make the mistake of thinking that the NFL is the end-all, be-all, because, yes, it is the highest level of competition. But they're not paying him millions upon millions because this is some small-time level of competition in college football, especially with the college football playoff, the Big Ten being what it is. He's competing with Franklin at Penn State. Obviously, he's got a nemesis in Urban Meyer at Ohio State. Think about the NFL, by the way. Other than Belichick, like, what head coaches' names really ring bells? Like, who's really a head coach that we check for that moves the needle? Whereas in college football, he is a whale, not just a big fish, but a whale in a big pond. I just don't see the Rams or anybody else being more attractive than what he has and what he will continue to have at Michigan.
Yeah, no, I agree. But can we just talk about Jive Turkey for a second?
Let's talk about Jive Turkey.
Okay. So my father speaks fluent 70s, and he continues to call people, say young blood, what you say, Jack, all that kind of thing.
I love blood, chief, and player. That's the best three things you can call somebody.
I was like, so why did he just say fish out?
Cuz.
Because it's not 70s. It's just the fact that I don't know, other than watching a episode of a rerun episode of Sanford and Son or the Jeffersons, Fish Eye Fool. I mean, like all these other things. I don't recall Jive Turkey. I don't remember the last time I heard this term.
Demonte Thomas, safety. He said that he's going to stay here for us. He joked and said, "You're stuck with me." Then he quoted Jive Turkey, something like that off a movie, Tropic Thunder, I think.
Oh.
So now you have me. Was he linking Osiris? Like, that's just tabloid conjecture. Back when I was a saucier down in San Antonio. That's my movie right there, boy.
I can tell.
Never changed Jim Harbaugh. Selfishly, you don't want to leave in college.
No,
so the Rams can cross him off their wish list. Pete Carroll may love L.A., but not enough to leave a sweet gig in Seattle. He asked that we keep his name out of our mouths when it comes to the Rams gig. OC's like Atlanta's Kyle Shanahan, son of Mike. Detroit's Jim Bob Cooter are names being thrown around, as is that of Patriots OC Josh McDaniels, who knows better than defeat into the frenzy, saying yesterday on a conference call that he's focused on preparing for the Denver Broncos.
On to Denver.
Yeah. Should he have an eye on L.A., though?
Yeah, I mean, I think you should. Look, there's a lot of attractive elements to being the Rams' next head coach. I think Jared Goff he has some talent and some ability. You still have Todd Gurley. You got a really good defense. I mean, the offense obviously needs to get in shape. And if you're Josh McDaniels, given that offense is your prowess, this should be an attractive opening for you. I guess the question is Josh McDaniels still attracted to other teams as head coach material? Or whether or not
should they be attracted to him?
Right.
Is what you mean?
Yeah, because look.
That's the more legitimate question, to be honest. Ain't but 32 head coaching jobs.
Correct.
You ain't getting Belichick and Brady, or Kraft for that matter, if you hire him. I mean, a lot of people, with all due respect, a lot of people off that Belichick coaching tree have not been able to come close to replicating that success.
Yeah, and at least you have some elements there for success if you're him. And look,
got a great looking defensive tackle, if I may say so myself.
Look, I know there was a lot of ill will, a bad taste left in a lot of people's mouths after he left Denver, because of how things went down there. He made a mistake in the quarterback that he chose in picking Tim Tebow. That seemed to doom everything that happened to him there, as well as some other negative relationships. So while I wouldn't compare Josh McDaniels to, say, the situation that Lane Kiffin is in, because I think there's a lot of reasons beyond just personality conflicts why people have an issue with Lane Kiffin. I don't think people have an issue necessarily with Josh McDaniels' integrity, per se. Would you say that's fair to say?
No, I don't think so.
No, I don't think they have an issue with his integrity, even though, again, he had some relationships that went a little sour. Jay Cutler, Brandon Marshall, if you want to look at it that way. But I think that he's somebody that's worth looking at. I mean, look, he obviously knows what he's doing on offense. It's just a matter of, do you believe he's the type of guy that could come in and inspire a group that clearly needs to be inspired after what's all happened?
It's really about organization, because, again, taking nothing away from him, but look, it helps that he is within the cocoon built by Bill Belichick, started by Robert Kraft up top with ownership, and having Tom Brady as his quarterback. Tom Brady has made many a coordinator, many a player, a lot of money.
And looks like a genius for that matter.
Exactly. So I'm not going to say that McDaniels has nothing to do with that success, but if he goes, Jared Goff, we don't know what Jared Goff is. And if I were the head coach going into the Rams, I'd be like, look, this ain't my pick. This was Les Snead and Jeff Fisher's pick.
He better love Jared Goff going in.
Right, or look, I got to have the option to be able to go in a different direction if I don't see what y'all saw in Jared Goff when y'all traded all those picks to get him #1 overall. But I'm basically saying, like, unless, if he didn't have the right players, all coaches are going to fail without the right players. So I don't want to take anything away from Josh McDaniels. I'm simply saying, if you're going to hire him, you got to be sure that he can run your organization from the top down, keep everybody on the same page, motivate players, have a working relationship, a healthy working relationship with your GM, which it seemed like Jeff Fisher did not have toward the end of his tenure there. But if I'm Josh McDaniels, and I'm glad that he put this to rest earlier in the year, because there was some speculation about whether or not he was just going to wait for Bill Belichick to retire. There are no guarantees.
Good luck with that.
They got a defensive coordinator, Matt Patricia, that is very highly regarded. But for all you know, Bob Kraft may go in that direction or a different direction altogether. There are only 32 of these gigs. Only one of them at the moment is in LA, with a new stadium coming and a really nice defense and a lot of opportunities to get better from a money spending standpoint. An owner that has shown that he will be patient to a fault. Unless maybe it just had everything to do with the president being a son of your agent. But still, ultimately, I think if you're Josh McDaniels, you're smart enough to look at the situation right now and know that there is nothing to be gained from saying, oh, yeah, I'm interested, holla at your boy. Wait until the bye week in the playoffs to talk to him. But a bird in hand is better than two in the bush. You can't sit around looking for the perfect fit, because once again, the perfect fit ain't going to include Tom Brady or Bill Belichick to help you out.
Well, and not only that, most times the people that need, or the teams that need coaches, there's a level of dysfunction and disarray. So you're going to
You're never taking over a great situation.
Because otherwise,
there's
why would the job even be open?
Exactly.
All right, meanwhile, some other news that developed while we were away, Mike. The Cowboys lost, and it's maybe opened the door to more speculation that Tony Romo will replace Dak Prescott. Actually, we don't even need speculation, because we have Jerry Jones.
I don't have a definition for it, but you'll know it when you see it. It's kind of like a definition I heard one time of another issue, trying to define a negative topic, and they said, I don't know how to say it, but it's just something that when you see it, you know it's there. We'll see it. Again, get over into areas where there's nothing careful about it. Get into areas where the decision becomes pretty obvious. And I think we can go there. That implies 2 or 3 different things, but certainly we've got to play better.
All right, so we're talking porn?
Yeah, I was going to say, for one, if you have to go and sidestep all the way around an analogy like that, just say you were talking about porn, Jerry. It's okay. We got it. We understand the quote.
So is that what we're talking, or we're talking football?
No, we're talking football.
All right, just checking.
What are you looking at me? It's like I'm an expert. I'm like, I don't know.
I didn't say anything. I just wondered what the subject was going to
Okay,
be.
the subject is football. It's the Cowboys.
All right. I didn't hear anything unreasonable the last several days. I think everybody, you rarely say this about Jerry Jones, everybody's handling this the right way.
Really?
Dak Prescott has not played well the last couple of games. As an offense, granted, against pretty good defenses, as an offense, they have not been humming along the last couple of games. I believe 24 points in 2 games, 2 for 24 on third downs. So it's not unreasonable or ridiculous to entertain the idea that if we continue down this path, we have a very capable backup who's so capable that there was conversation about whether to bench a likely rookie of the year in favor of going back to him. It was his team to begin with. They were calling it his team for most of the year. So it's not crazy to say, you know what, Tony is ready to go if it comes down to it, because you're not thinking about the long-term future of Dak Prescott. Frankly, you're not thinking about Dak Prescott's feelings because you had to set aside Tony Romo's feelings for what was good for the team before. You're thinking about the here and now, and you can't sit around and say, oh, we got a cushion enough to let this offense continue to struggle with Tony Romo waiting in the wings. It'd be one thing if we were talking about E.J. Manuel or Ryan Mallett or Cody Kessler or Landry Jones or Tom Savage or Scott Tolzien or Matt Castle or Paxton Lynch. You see what Matt McGloin.
Backups that are
That's backup quarterbacks.
I got you.
How many people could Tony Romo actually start for? So I think we're talking about a unique set of circumstances with somebody the caliber of Tony Romo waiting in the wings. That's why I think it's okay to have this kind of conversation. It's not like you're talking about just anybody.
Right.
If he's not seeing the field the same way, if for some reason he's regressing, quote unquote, or struggling, and it's his fault that the offense is sputtering, why wouldn't you look to Tony Romo? That's not crazy.
You know why people...
And it doesn't undermine Dak.
You know why people didn't notice Dak Prescott's numbers the week before the Giants game? It's because they won. So you mean to tell me this is basically just... I mean, and I know it's a results business, so I'm not trying to, diminish or disregard that. But to me, if that was how... we know the love affair or the love that Jerry Jones has for Tony Romo, then you should have just pulled the trigger when Tony was healthy.
No,
you should have
just.
No, it is totally the same thing. Because look, here's the thing, Mike. If you were going to pull the trigger and go back to Romo at the first sign of him struggling, granted, we're talking about struggling with a 11-2 record now.
Right.
Okay. Then what was the point of putting him in there?
Because he wasn't struggling.
Okay, so as soon as he struggled, however you want to define struggle, then it's completely okay. Well, then just you should have just changed him to Tony Romo.
No,
you should have just gone with Tony Romo when he was healthy.
As the facts change, so does everybody's opinion. Like, this isn't about, hey, it's your team. You are the quarterback of the future. The future is now. And if you got a team that you think could contend for a Super Bowl, you have to do what's best week to week to win. Like Jason Garrett, ultimately, it should be Garrett's call. The bigger question is how much pressure Jerry Jones, who's going to be more impatient between Jerry Jones and Jason Garrett? Because Jason Garrett is the one most qualified to be able to determine whether or not the offensive struggles are a result of Dak Prescott showing himself to actually be a rookie as opposed to, I don't know, Dez Bryant slipping
I was going to say, let's not talk about the fact that maybe had Dez Bryant held on to the ball.
There's that too.
And again, they struggled against a good defense.
Right.
If the result were different, no one would be talking about Tony Romo. So to me, if Romo is always going to be the perfect person lurking in the background, just make the change. Rather than go through this, just make the change.
It's okay to go through it. Like, look,
why? That's like, if that's not who, if you're either all in or all out. You can be like, well, I'm gonna be all in until he mess up, and then I'm back to this.
It's not
go
until
to the other option.
It's not until he messes. So you're saying just stick with him regardless of how he plays, just whether he struggles or not. If it's his fault that they're losing, when you have a viable alternative,
again,
everybody's employment.
Struggle. What is struggle? Struggle is just you lost. Again, no one was talking about Dak's numbers throwing for less than 200 yards the week before because they won. Dak was not the only reason they lost to the Giants.
But there's a pattern now. You're not going to say one game, okay, we pull it. Even though we won, let's pull the trigger on Romo. Now he's back. All right, you struggled for the first time. No, but now you've lost. Now there's a couple of games in a row. I think it's 3 straight in thrown for 200. Again, not saying it's all about the numbers, and I get what you're saying when it comes to the results, but you and I both agreed that during that winning streak, they were winning as much because of Dak Prescott as a supporting cast. It wasn't like he was just along for the ride, some caretaker.
Correct.
But if his play falls off, when you have a viable alternative, you'd be foolish not to explore it if it comes down to it. They're going against a surging defense with the Bucs this year, this week. Everybody's employment is conditional. You and I slip up, best believe they're finding somebody else to do this. They probably already looking and they ain't find nobody good enough yet for all we know. That's how this rolls when you have a Tony Romo. If your backup were clearly inferior to Dak, it's not a conversation. But because it's the caliber of Tony Romo, I think it's okay for all people involved to understand this is professional football. This ain't personal. It ain't show friends, it's show business.
And I get it. And
he's a grown man. He can handle people speculating about Romo.
This is not about Dak's feelings, even though it's been very apparent from word go that Jerry Jones was praying for a reason. That
I don't think he was. I think he just wanted to
He
win.
all but said, I hope the kid get hurt. So I could put Tony Romo back in.
That's not what he said.
He all but has said that.
His love for Tony Romo made him want a perfect scenario in which Romo had some role in helping to get to the Super Bowl. I do think there's a subtle difference between that and I hope Dak messes up so we can put Romo back in. I think there's a subtle
praying
difference.
for him to mess up. Jerry, you got your opportunity. You got exactly what you wanted. Just put your boy back in there. That's what you
Why
really want.
is it wrong if
Just put him
somebody's
back in
struggling
there.
and you have Tony Romo?
No,
Why is it wrong
maybe
to
it's
think
just me. My thing is if you're not going to be in with me all the way and realize that, because then you're putting Dak Prescott in a situation where you have to play mistake-free
So you
all
are
the time.
undermining him. You think they are undermining him?
Yeah, absolutely, because you're telling him unless you play totally perfect
That's not what
all
you're
the time
saying.
and we win, this is going to be your owner GM is going to talk constantly about how much he loves to do behind you. If you love him that much, put him in there because clearly you have total faith in him.
Man, that sounded so personal just now. If you love her so much, just go back to her. Just go back to her. Don't keep bringing her up. Just go back to her.
I have not personally experienced this.
That sounded so personal just now.
No, just saying.
It's business. It's business. Ultimately, they're not saying you got to play perfect. You have no margin for error. They didn't say, hey, we're going to split. They didn't say we're going to split first team reps. They didn't say that. All they said was, if it comes down to it, Tony Romo is ready to go. If Dak Prescott didn't know, if he has to be told that, if Dak Prescott said, oh my God, Jerry said they might put in Romo, then he's not that naive.
No, he's got
to know. Right? What's wrong with that?
Working every day of the week. See how they do that?
See, don't get too comfortable. See, that's your problem. You get too comfortable.
My contract been executed. I'm real comfortable. Anyway.
I'm telling you, it's okay. Draymond sealed it with this study. But we're going to talk about Pelicans assistant getting a little too friendly, some would say, with Steph Curry.
But this hard to paint. First, check out this dunk. Right state, Stephen Davis. Ooh,
man. That thing back.
He did against Division II's Urbana University.
I'm struggling today. They might bench me in the break.
Investigation has concluded team radio announcer Tommy Elrod provided or attempted to provide confidential game preparation information to opponents several times starting in 2014. The school began the investigation last month after an equipment manager discovered documents inside Louisville Stadium that showed specific Wake Forest plays a day before the Demon Deacons played Louisville. Now, Elrod has been fired and a couple statements have been made, one of which is from Wake Forest head coach Dave Clawson, the other from a Louisville spokesman. Here's from Coach Clawson. It's incomprehensible that a former Wake Forest student athlete, graduate assistant, full-time football coach, and current radio analyst for the school would betray his alma mater. We allowed him to have full access to our players, team functions, film room, and practices. He violated our trust, which negatively impacted our program. This is from a Louisville spokesperson. Coach Bobby Petrino doesn't have a comment in what appears to be a Wake Forest issue. Now, Bobby Petrino was on Mike and Mike last month when this first started to crop up. And he said on Mike and Mike, we ain't had nothing to do with it.
My name's Paul. That's between y'all?
Everything is above board. He denied the accusation. But this seems to be a much bigger issue than just a Wake Forest problem.
When my man Elrod coached at Wake Forest, he was co-coordinator of the passing game. I'm reading this on SI.com. His other co-coordinator, Lonnie Galloway, now works on Bobby Petrino's staff.
Cue the Law and Order music.
Okay. So this is a Wake Forest issue. This is a Louisville issue. This is everybody on their schedule for the last several years issue. This is an ACC issue. I mean, cheating is a widespread issue in sports, and the old saying is, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. We've heard of teams like scouring the locker room and making sure they don't leave any kind of materials behind for fear that another team would get a hold of their playbook or whatever. That's why they turn in your playbook.
Right.
They don't want you taking it home as a souvenir.
That's why the Turk does it. Right?
You know what I mean? But to hear somebody giving it away and undermining the program they're still drawing a check from and one that they have a connection to in terms of playing and coaching does sound unprecedented to me. And I really got to know how deep this rabbit hole goes. And the ACC and the NCAA should want to see how deep this rabbit hole goes. How widespread was this within the ACC among Wake Forest opponents, but also across all of college football? Because, this just first thing I thought of was gambling. This cat must have had a serious gambling problem. Was trying to bet against the spread and figured here's the best way for me to help the opposition beat Wake Forest. No disrespect, as if they needed help.
Or maybe
for the most part,
money for if that were an issue
that he was getting something under the table.
Something under the table, in order to feed his particular habit. Look, as despicable and as awful as it is, what Elrod did in terms of making this information available, I think worse of the person who took it.
Yeah.
Whoever took it.
Yeah. You got film study.
You have film study. And not only that, just from a pure integrity standpoint, and I realize in football, they try to take whatever edge that you give them.
Right.
There was an issue earlier, I think it was with Mike Leach's team. I think it was with Washington State in terms of stealing signals.
Stealing signals.
Okay.
Well, I mean, Spygate is part of the lexicon.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. But there's something different about getting the information with somebody's
having
exact
a mold.
plays and having a mold.
Yeah.
It's just very distasteful.
Right.
And there's got to be a part of you as a competitor that has to think, you really want to stoop to that level?
Right.
And again,
Scarface had limits. No kids. No women, no kids.
Right.
I don't want you giving me.
Like Kane and Menace, I ain't smoking no kids at all.
Right. I don't want you giving me playbooks.
Right.
I'll steal your signals. We'll have binoculars. We'll scout your tendencies.
Correct.
We may even catch the quarterback's cadence. But that's part of gamesmanship. This is out and out just dirty. This is low.
No, I mean, it reminds me of my man in Trading Places when they were trying to influence the reports with my man Beaker, right? Beaks,
yeah.
Right? Yeah, it's
report.
the crop report. It's something about it that really, especially in college athletics in particular, that you just wonder, wow, is it really this far? And I have to say, I thought about if this were two other schools, maybe rival schools, would rival coaches, would they give up the person or give them a heads up and say, hey, this is going on at your school? Or would they take the information? And here's the thing, the fact that in my mind, I don't know, says a lot about the competitive
As odd a
landscape.
story as this is, as much as we talked about it on Mike and Mike this morning, it got a lot of traction on social media yesterday. If it were one of the marquee programs, and not just in the ACC, but all of college football, how much bigger would this be? I don't think there'd be any question that somebody would try to figure out what role this played and what exactly was the system going on here.
I think the conference has to punish the people who use the information.
Or at least come to some kind of conclusion as to what happened. I'd like to know, if possible, what role it played, in some of the law. If you're Wake Forest, you would want to know, right? You can't just close the book on this.
Futures on the line.
Yeah.
People get hired and fired based off results, so you can't have this.
All right, to be continued. Draymond had a triple-double and a big-time stop of the Briar at the end, and Steph scored a game-high 30. Most impressive among them, these over Drew Holiday in the third. Now, that man you see Curry dap up on the bench is New Orleans assistant Darren Erman, who oversees the Pelicans defense, as he once did for the Warriors under Mark Jackson. Unusual to see an opposing coach give props in a game, but Steph was like, yo, we knew each other. He said, if you make that shot, he said that he told Drew Holiday, if you make that shot, if Steph makes that shot, that's still good defense. So after Steph made the shot, he's like, I wanted props from Erman. Seems okay to me, right? No?
No,
unacceptable?
Not really.
Inappropriate? Inappropriate?
No one was naked, so I wouldn't take it that far. Unacceptable, not on Steph's part, because look, he's only going to be able to do what you allow him to do, not in terms of making the shot, but if he holds his hand out, you don't have to dap him up right there in front of your team, in front of my wife, in front of my family.
That doesn't happen to you?
What?
Well, see, women y'all don't dap up.
No, we don't do that.
It happens all the time. You can see a dude that you ain't really cool with, you don't really mess with like that, but if he extend his hand.
Oh, no, we do it. We just do it in a different way.
How do women
it's
do
like
it?
in Friday, when she was like, call me when you get home from work. Okay. Like,
Oh, yeah, with Miss Parker?
Miss Parker?
Okay.
We do that
Okay,
now. We'll
yeah,
say,
y'all
hey, girl, don't mess with you in your mind. That's what you're
Gotcha,
thinking.
but
Yeah.
you still say, hey,
Right.
because, okay, so like with dudes, you might see somebody, they might walk up to you like, what's up? It's like, it's just
Yeah,
just
it's like a little
instinct to
hesitation, like, yeah,
right.
I guess
But
so.
they knew each other. It's okay. Like, I understand, look, everybody ain't Russell Westbrook. Everybody is not going to take every opportunity possible if a ball is on the floor to kick it away. Everybody does not have that inherent pettiness and hatred
It's not pettiness,
for all
though.
people who don't.
See, I was feeling Russ on this.
That's why he's my favorite player. You're not allowed to feel Russ.
I am.
You are not allowed.
I can't hear Jimmy?
No, you
it's like
can't
that?
hear Jimmy. You can't. You listen to Jimmy. You don't understand Zero Chill. That's
I
Zero
do.
Chill right there.
I do.
Okay, that's my nickname for him. So that makes me like him even more, my favorite player. But everybody's not like that. And if you have a relationship with somebody who Steph credits with helping his game back when he coached in Golden State, that's okay. It's not like it's going to compromise his ability to coach the Pelicans.
Mike, this is really hilarious coming from you.
Is this hypocritical?
A little bit. Because
Why?
I'm just going to say, it's certain people, if I were caught dapping them in our industry, maybe
In this building?
Hey, maybe even in our building, you would have a big...
Oh, you be dead to me.
See
You be
what
dead
I'm
to me.
saying?
You be dead to me.
See what
Don't
I'm
sleep
saying?
with the enemy.
See what I'm saying?
No consorting with the suits.
See what I'm saying?
I don't mean y'all. It's just a movie. That's the secret of my success. I mean, the suits here, okay. Yeah, no, they got certain people. Yeah, you better not be caught. Yeah, you better not be.
So I'm
Yeah,
saying.
exactly. You better turn the other way.
They should save that friendliness for after the game. How many times, like when LeBron did it, when he was all happy.
They were losing by 27. This was one shot. It's okay. How many? Okay, so
You're in a competitive
because
game,
it's a coach,
man, like-
so you don't see players like help one another up. Like, are you that old
Helping
school?
one another up
Oh,
is
pat
a
him on the
lot
butt. That
different.
happens all the time.
Okay.
Like, good shot, good play.
He's a coach.
You
man.
play pickup
You
basketball.
can't.
You're like, all right, good play. Hey, good shot.
No, actually,
people
I
give props
didn't-
all
I
the time.
didn't do
It's
that.
okay to appreciate greatness.
Nah, man.
Doesn't mean you're not a competitor. Man, you are so.
Oh, but I'm petty. Okay.
See right there? Well, I tell you, that's vision. It's like Tony Romo when he hit Whitney. Try to be the best in their division. Cavs are good too, but they resting their big three tonight.
But first, there's a duty of honorable mention. Hey, Coach Cal, I'm gonna need you to step up your Christmas tree game.
I appreciate this man not blowing his money on insignificant things like Christmas trees.
Scrooge.
I don't do Christmas lights. I'm reluctant to do Christmas trees. I just do a pole. I got a lot of problems with you people.
Our fans have shown us a lot of love, and we want to return the favor. With Domino's Piece of the Pie rewards, you can earn free pizza, a chance at Domino's stock, or $10,000 in store profits. Learn more at Domino's.com.
Look at this, a Silicon Valley server farm. The vault to man's greatest wonders. Selfies.
The big three, LeBron, Love, and Kyrie, who didn't play Tuesday, will not travel to Memphis for the second night of a home road back-to-back with the Grizzlies. The Cavs only visit to the Grindhouse, barring an NBA Finals matchup. Here's the explanation from Tyronn Lue.
No Kyrie, no LeBron, no Kevin traveling. Thank you. Have a nice night. Dave, you can close your mouth. What's your mouth?
You said they're not traveling,
No, they're not playing.
but they're traveling,
They're not going.
not going.
Why?
I felt like it.
My coach wanted to rest us. I'm not gonna buck at my coach, and that's what he want, and that's what we're gonna do. I've been in this league 14 years. I shouldn't have to explain me sitting out games or not playing games. I've played in every arena, including Seattle, that's no longer here, including some other places. So, it's not like it's my first year. I got 14 years. I've paid my dues more than a lot of guys in this league. But I'm riding with my coach. What my coach wants, he gets.
LeBron said, my record speaks for itself. How many fellas have you collared?
See, I'm feeling LeBron because
Yeah?
I am. And I do feel for the fans because especially this time of year, it might be somebody's Christmas gift.
Yeah.
Treating the kids.
Yeah.
I do. But I just want to just get this off my chest.
Go for it.
All right? Because I'm tired of these people out here. And I blame you for this, Mike, actually. Yeah, it's on you. Because you have vacation shamed me so much on this show that every time I'm not here or we're not here, all up in the mentions, where y'all at? Where y'all be? What y'all doing? How many days off you get? Stay out of my time card. Don't worry about how many days I have off, all right? So I'm feeling LeBron on that, checking me about where I am. I'll be where I'm at. How about that?
Tell I'm at where I'm at. I'm going to be where I be.
I'll be where
If I had
I
to tell everybody where I'm at all the time, I'd be confused.
I was like, I love y'all, but dang.
Why don't you accept it as a compliment? Accept it as a compliment that they miss us.
Yeah, I get
First of all, like, you feel yourself a little too much if you're going to liken us to LeBron and Kyrie. Let's just be honest here. Let's
People
just be honest.
got that, you know, the five of you that stay in my
actually care whether we're here or not.
You.
But okay, but yeah, I'm glad you, 'cause at least we're not going to be hypocritical and shame somebody for taking time off. Although, full disclosure, when the White House comes calling and they serving Hennessy, we gotta go. Gotta go. You know, so it's not we're off television, but not off. Still putting in work for the big picture, for the long term, planting seeds, like Mr. and Mrs. Obama co-hosting the 6 o'clock Sports Center with us.
Which we had.
Planting those kind of seeds.
Right, and because of that, that's why the First Lady knew about your tonsils.
I was blown away. But point being, it's about the big picture. And if you want to blame anybody, or fans want to blame anybody for this resting approach as opposed to playing all 82 like a lot of the stars did back in the day, then blame our society when it comes to sports conversations nowadays. Blame talking heads like us who put so much weight on championships and legacies until people only look toward the playoffs when it comes to pacing themselves for the regular season. Because 5-10 years from now, if player X doesn't have a championship or as many championships as player Y, to whom he's often compared, nobody's going to say, but yeah, back on December 15th, he played at Memphis. Good for LeBron, you know, or good for Kyrie Irving. And they all have circumstances, whether it's Kyrie's legs, I know he's 24, they're like, you're 24 years old, go out and play. Kyrie's legs are aching. Kevin Love had his back lock up. LeBron, as he said, has played as many, if not more minutes than anybody in the NBA over the course of his career, not including summer basketball. So they put in the work, but I do feel for the fans whose work produces hard-earned money that they're buying these tickets for. And like I said, there needs to be some kind of consolation package, some kind of care package. NBA cares when it comes to the community, care about the fans who are disappointed. Have a meet and greet with the kids, have some kind of like, some kind of goodie bag that you get sent home with, whether it's a jersey, an autograph, a hat, some kind of credit toward other tickets, just like rainouts in baseball. You can, I mean, it's 162 of those versus, 81 of those versus 41 home games. But you can come back and redeem that ticket for a rainout. There needs to be some kind of way to make it whole when it comes to fans on the road who invest in seeing the LeBrons and the Kyries and the Loves who are disappointed. Some way you should be able to make it up to them. But I'm not going to sit up here and begrudge coaches and players for taking a long view when it comes to their bodies.
So don't hate the player, hate the game.
Must be nice.
Yeah, because look, literally, I don't see why that's so hard to do, because the problem I think most fans have is that when they market those packages, they market them.
Or they upcharge.
They upcharge,
yeah, right,
and then
absolutely.
they say, hey, LeBron's going to be here, Steph's going to be here, and when those guys don't play, I see why the fans feel.
But people pay for ESPN too to see us, not some other show. Or some other shows. They pay for they got people that's paying for E2 to see us, right?
You know, I've been here few years, been on time most of the time.
Even when it rains.
Even when it rains.
Let's
So
not talking
stay
promotion.
off me, y'all.
When we on the 6th, we can't pull this though. We got to work. We got to show up. You know.
Don't set high expectations.
As usual,
anyway.
I'll carry it. I will carry this. Much like Tom Brady does the Patriots passing game, regardless of to whom he is throwing. Does he have MVP sewn up? That after the break. ESPN.com's experts have Tom Brady #1 and comfortably ahead of Derek Carr in the MVP race after Brady lit up the league's #1 defense Monday night. Now, 7 of the 13 panelists had Brady first, and none had him lower than third with 3 games remaining, proving it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Brady, of course, didn't start the season because of his 4-game Deflategate suspension. Now, the MVP will be Brady's third to go along with 3 Super Bowl MVPs. Tom's to lose with 3 games left.
It feels that way, even though I personally don't think Ezekiel Elliott should be out of contention. I realize that he, of course, would fall further behind considering the most recent loss. But Tom Brady has a couple things going for him. Certainly there will be voters, understandably so, who look at the
first 4, 3-1.
First 4. However, now that they don't have Gronk, and he's still putting up the numbers that he is, and as you just mentioned, with a very impressive win over Baltimore where he was on the money, that's quite a statement game to have at this point in the season.
Yep.
So
timing is everything. Coming off of the struggles of Derek Carr and Dak Prescott in particular.
Correct. I think the other person he probably has to look out for is Matt Stafford. And yes, I did say Matt Stafford. All right.
2 people you're not allowed to show love
Russell
to.
And Matt
Russell
Stafford,
Westbrook
okay?
and Matt Stafford. Roll it.
Matt Stafford Who you already know what I think of him.
Numbers never
He's
lie?
a broke.
What is this?
He's
You
a
throwing numbers at me
He's a
now?
broke Jay Cutler. That's what
A
he is.
broke Jay Cutler?
Yeah, he's a broke Jay Cutler. He's so horribly mediocre.
Because as an insult to Matthew Stafford, you once called him a broke Jay Cutler.
I did. I consider Matt Stafford barely average.
Right.
He does have a quarterback.
Broke Jay Cutler, I think.
Broke Jay Cutler.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
what I call him. I'm sorry, did I stutter? See, what is
You
your...
ain't allowed.
No, what is your favorite phrase?
Nope,
What is your favorite phrase?
Nope.
As
As the facts change, so does my opinion.
Well, the
But
facts
your
change.
opinion was so bad.
No, it
I
wasn't.
tried to tell you,
It
Matt
was
Stafford
not.
been that dude since he had a separated shoulder and scored against the Browns his first game in the NFL. I tried to tell you, but you being
At
from
times, there are
Detroit.
plenty of examples where he was not that dude. Okay? Plenty to support my argument.
And some could say that he's been so clutch because he's had to be
Yeah,
this year.
and through no fault of his own, they can't run the ball. I mean, they have some other. The
Right.
defense has certainly come along.
It has.
And
It has.
They're very good.
I do think he is comfortably in the MVP conversation. Brady, if people just decide to give it to the best player at the most important position on the best team, they'll go with Brady. But I'm with you that people are going to have a hard time letting go of the fact that they went 3-1 without him, even though there is not just a Gronk absence. But here's the other thing that if people really want to attach it to a narrative, and this year more than any, people's numbers you can nitpick at or whatever, it's going to be about whose narrative do you jump on board
Yeah,
with.
exactly. That's what I was thinking of too.
That Deflategate, non-Deflategate story that just happened this past weekend actually adds to Brady's case. Because the fact that the league just was like, nothing to see here, all good,
Yep.
no formal complaint was filed, all the
spent
PS...
in an investigation.
Exactly, and the fact that they still haven't released the weekly spot check data when it comes to the PSIs only lets you further know that he sat for nothing when it came to those first 4 games. So if you want, you cannot hold it against him. Whose suspension will be held against him, but who's on the come up when it comes to this conversation, and Ben Roethlisberger shouted him out today, your man Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah. Oh, he had
The
he had
Steelers just
himself a
decided,
game.
you want to talk about a dark horse? Because he's a workhorse. 42 touches?
Told you,
If
Michigan
he
State.
keeps putting up these yards from scrimmage and
50
scoring the
touches.
way he is, and they get into the playoffs, that's the running back, not Zeke, that people may look at and say, wow, like look at the finishing kick that he had, even though he cost himself, 3 games to start the season because of the drug policy. But if I had to cast a vote right now, I give it to Brady because like I said earlier in the year, even though you can say they went 3-1 without him, they're a different level team and offense with him than with, Jimmy Garoppolo or somebody like that. So,
Gotcha.
I was going to bring that back on you.
All right, Skirt.
Countdown's coming up next. So that's Jeffrey Lurie. Might want to change his number after somebody put his business all in the street on eBay. Does that have a sell on it?
All right, we got 3 fire. Why does he have a phone? Why is he doing this? Did he need to memorize that he has a beautiful family? Like, you don't know Savannah already? You don't know LeBron has 3 kids?
He didn't want to forget anything.
You don't know Rich Paul and them? Like,
He didn't want to forget anything.
You are an international performer.
You a television person. This is script.
Okay, but Mike,
script.
if I were
prompter.
inducting you into anything, and I picked up my phone and said, Michael Smith, he has 3 beautiful
Could you
children.
you might
and his
have
wife's
written it
name's
down.
Sarah.
You might have written it down and read it off a
You
prompter.
write
What's the
bars for
difference?
a living. You don't need a phone.
You all won today. Joel Embiid. He's in the process of becoming the greatest social media user in history.
Slash
This
troll.
time he asked Ben Simmons and Chandler Parsons about their virginity on Instagram. Would it be inappropriate if I asked you about yours? Does your mom still think you have it?
I no longer have it. I'm comfortable saying that.
Okay.
I don't think that's a mystery.
No, I mean, I don't know. You might have told your mom.
Well, we know you got 3 kids, and we know you don't have yours either.
That's true. I don't remember when I lost it. It was so quick. I remember it was like by track 2. That was a wrap. Whatever album I put on.
Now, you ain't make it through track 1. Why you lying? You was like, oh boy, and was it The Wood?
The Wood, yeah.
That it?
Justin Bieber played a beer league pickup game at the LA Kings practice facility, came close to getting into a fight after a player broke his stick or what he thought was a dirty play. Don't
So he toughed
play
out?
with the Biebs.
That Biebs can't bust a grape with a hammer. You gotta be kidding me.
Bust a grape in a fruit fight.
No, it's bust a grape with a hammer.
No, it's not. It's
what we
wouldn't
say.
bust a grape in a fruit fight.
You say bust a grape with a hammer.
God, you say my bag with a G,
I know
too.
it's D, though. I acknowledge
You're
that. It's
terrible.
bust a grape with a hammer.
You know what we should have had in the countdown? Jim Brown and Ray Lewis. Y'all are no longer invited to the family barbecue.